by 46 Republican senators.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President?
Senator from Montana.
Mr. President, first of all, I want to thank the senator from Utah for his courtesy. Thank you, Senator Lee. Americans across the country, people around the world, and myself believe that in this room, they know that President Biden is failing at our southern border. That's not a secret. We've had months of record-shattering numbers of illegal immigrants crossing that southern border. We've had unfathomable amounts of illegal drugs produced by Mexican cartels, meth, fentanyl, heroin, coming into our country. It's making its way across that southern border and into states like my home state of Montana. Many of you have probably heard me say that Montana is a northern border state with a southern border crisis. Well, that's true. The crisis at our southern border, created by President Biden, is out of control. And we all know we must do something to change the status quo to protect our families and our communities. But what I'm here to talk about today is how President Biden is also failing at our northern border, the border between the United States and Canada. While our southern border remains wide open to illegal drugs, illegal immigrants, many potentially COVID positive or unvaccinated, our northern border remains closed because of President Biden. The hypocrisy here is stunning. It's infuriating. It's unexplainable. There's no reason or rationale behind President Biden's decision. It can't be because of COVID-19 or because of vaccination rates. Canadians are over 80% vaccinated. 80%. Haitians, on the other hand, coming across the southern border, have less than a 1% vaccination rate. So if COVID-19 and the vaccination rates were the issue, then why did President Trudeau lift his restrictions and start allowing Americans to travel to Canada on August 9th? It makes no sense. President Biden is prohibiting Canadians from traveling into the United States. They can't come into Montana. Who is paying the price for President Biden's hypocrisy? Montanans are paying the price. Montana families, Montana businesses are paying the price. Montana border communities, northern border communities across the country are paying the price. President Biden and his inexplicable policies are hurting Montana's economy, they're destroying jobs, shuttering businesses, hurting our families. In fact, let me give you an example. Great Falls, Montana, proudly calls Malmstrom Air Force Base its home. They've reported that they've seen a 20 to 25% decrease in revenue due to the continued border closure. This is sadly the story we are hearing from many communities and business owners across Montana, as Canadians are no longer able to come visit our beautiful state. Mr. President, this has been going on far too long. Since the president will not do the right thing to use some good old-fashioned Montana common sense to listen to Montanans and open our northern border, I've introduced a bill to do just that. And by the way, I've seen several of my colleagues across the aisle join me in calling on this administration to reopen the northern border, and I'm grateful for that. But actions speak louder than words. Today, we have the opportunity to stop putting the power in the hands of President Biden to make the right decision here. He hasn't made it, because we know that won't happen. Today, we can pass my bill. It's called the Restoring the Northern Border Travel Act, and require the Biden administration to reopen the northern border. Let's help revitalize Montana. How about the other northern border states? Let's put an end to this irrational closure and this hypocrisy. A wide open southern border and a closed northern border. It doesn't make any sense. So I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to join me in passing my bill.
Senator from Montana.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs be discharged from further consideration of Senate Bill 2196 and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration. I further ask that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and the motion to be reconsidered be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there objection?
Reserving the right to object.
Senator from Delaware.
I appreciate our colleague from Montana's efforts to get northern border travel back to normal. I understand that this is an important issue in Montana, and it's important to families along our northern border, not only in Montana, but across our nation. I just want to flag a couple of things if I can. This legislation has not been considered just yet in the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, on which I serve and formerly chaired. Given the importance of this issue, I will be more than happy to work with our colleague from Montana on a path forward from this time. I am concerned, having said that, this legislation as is a bit too broad and could have unintended consequences, including making it harder to address future challenges at our borders. Fortunately, having said that, fortunately, the administration, the Biden administration, is already taking actions to safely and responsibly reopen our border, including the recent announcement to expand the eligibility of travelers to enter the U.S. via air travel that will go into effect, I believe it's next month. Again, I appreciate our colleague's efforts here. I'm ready to work with him. I said to him just a few minutes ago, more than willing to work with him on this bill within the Homeland Security Committee, where I serve as a senior Democrat. And we can look at changes to refine the legislation and hopefully build bipartisan support for it. Unfortunately, however, tonight I have to object.
The objection is heard.
Mr. President.
Senator from Montana.
Mr. President, I am grateful for the support the senator from Delaware has offered here. The reason I'm down here asking for unanimous consent this evening is to provide a sense of urgency to try to get this done now. President Trudeau opened up the Canadian border on August 9th, and President Biden's kept the border shut down and Canadians coming in during that entire time. It doesn't make sense. COVID is a concern. We agree on that. However, it should not be a concern in the U.S.-Canadian border, with Canadians having an 80% vaccination rate. Canada began allowing fully vaccinated Americans to cross the border 2 months ago. Canada has a higher vaccination rate than the United States. I find it a bit hypocritical to talk about the concern about vaccination rates and relating that to the northern border at the same time the southern border is wide open with vaccination rates, for example, the Haitians of less than 1%. So anyway, we want to get this resolved. We're seeing businesses and families suffer from northern border states. This administration continues to have a wide open southern border policy while keeping the northern border closed. Montanans can't figure that one out. Many of us who live in northern border states see the same thing. The hypocrisy in this issue has to end. The travel to the U.S.-Canadian border needs to be restored immediately. I yield back my time.
President.
Senator from Delaware.
Mr. President, I ask to yield back the remaining time